So thus far, we have read and are into the part of the rasa dance where Krishna has disappeared and the gopis running through the forest have found his footprints, but they also found another set of footprints. And as they followed those two sets of footprints throughout the forest, they surmised the various activities by the nature of the footprints that they were seeing, the activities that the couple was performing. So this is where we are now, that the gopis are seeing this evidence that Krishna was putting some flowers in his lover's hair and that they were intimate. And that's where we'll pick up our next section. Samapriya, can you get a reader? You have to unmute.
Yes, Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see you. Okay, let's start with Sachi Devi. Would you like to read, Sachi? I saw you. There you are. Unmute, sweetie. You have to unmute.
I'm just looking.
Okay,
Go
we
on to
can hear.
You're good. You're good.
Go on to someone else.
Oh, and then I'll call you. Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
perfectly.
All right. So text 34 through 44 Krishna book?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. In this way, all the gopis began to point out the faults of the particular gopi who had been taken alone by Krishna. They began to say that the chief gopi, Radharani, who was taken alone by Krishna, must be very proud of her position, thinking herself the greatest of the gopis. Yet how could Krishna take her away alone, leaving all of us aside, unless she be extraordinarily qualified and beautiful? She must have taken Krishna in the deep forest and told him, "My dear Krishna, I am now very tired. I cannot go any further. Please carry me wherever you like." When Krishna was spoken to in this way, he might have told Radharani, "All right, better get on my shoulder." But immediately Krishna must have disappeared, and now Radharani must be lamenting for him. "My dear lover, my dearest, you are so fine and so powerful. Where have you gone? I am nothing but your most obedient maidservant. I am very much aggrieved. Please come and be with me again." Krishna, however, is not coming to her. He must be watching her from a distant place and enjoying her sorrow.
Okay, thank you. We're going to finish this before we discuss it. Mukundaji, you want to continue reading?
We need to bring it down just a little bit. We're at all the gopis.
Yes.
All the gopis then went further and further into the forest, searching out Krishna. But when they learned that actually Radharani was left alone by Krishna, they became very sorry. This is the test of Krishna consciousness. In the beginning, they were a little envious that Krishna had taken Radharani alone, leaving aside all of the gopis. But as soon as they knew that Krishna also had left Radharani and that she was alone lamenting for him, they became more sympathetic to her. The gopis found Radharani and heard everything from her about how she misbehaved with Krishna and how she was proud and was insulted for her pride. After hearing all this, they became actually very sympathetic. All the gopis, including Radharani, began to proceed further into the forest until they could no longer see the moonlight.
Continue.
When they saw that it was getting gradually darker, they stopped. Their mind and intelligence became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. They all imitated the activities of Krishna and his speeches due to their heart and their soul being completely given to Krishna. They began to chant his glories, completely forgetting their own family interest. In this way, all the gopis assembled together on the bank of the Jamuna, and expecting that Krishna must return to them, they simply engaged in chanting the glories of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Okay, so this is, should we have a little discussion now, Patti? Is that all right? Or do you want to
Yeah,
wait?
definitely. No,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Also note, thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 30th chapter of Krishna. Krishna is hiding from the gopis. Who remembers what the other title was?
Gopis searching for Krishna.
Right.
Hare Krishna. Oh, everyone's here. Okay, so I have two questions about this. Not questions, but kind of. Oh, there's Acharya right away. Acharyaji.
Why don't you ask your question first?
Well, it's not really a question. It's something
Oh.
I noticed that there's no malice. There's no malice at all in any of the dealings between the gopis and Krishna and Radharani and this whole huge, wonderful drama. There's no malice whatsoever. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated in this section. And the other one, Patti, can you put that back to the text for a moment, please? At the last part of this, they simply engage in chanting the glories of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is actually chanting the glories of Krishna, to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So when I hear something like that, I become very enthused. Anyone else want to say something? I know you must have something to say about this, all of these different topics we covered in this section.
Yeah, I think I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Did Acharya get a chance?
Oh, Acharya and then Mukundaji, yes.
Yeah, this is a little connected to what you said about no malice. I was really struck by the gopis accusing Krishna of watching Radhika and enjoying her sorrow. So that phrase really struck me because it's like an accusation of malice. That's like the opposite. The Vaishnava is Paraduka Duki, but they're accusing Krishna of being Paraduka Suki, of enjoying Radhika's distress. So it's a criticism, it's an accusation of malice, but at the same time, it's kind of true in the sense that Krishna is enjoying and actually astounded by the degree of Radhika's distress and pain upon being separated from him. So
Well,
just that phrase really struck me, and I really
well,
liked it.
yeah, that there's no malice. There really is no malice. Krishna has
No, there's obviously no
malice.
malice, but
There's no malice. He
but
might
the
be teasing.
accusation could be interpreted that way, that the
He's
gopis are saying
teasing
about
her.
Krishna, but there's a deeper idea.
Right. So it seems to me like a tease. He's teasing them, but there's no malice for his topmost devotees. That's from this whole section with all the different battles back and forth with the envy and the this and the that. It seems so sweet, like dripping jewels. No malice.
As we unfold the petals of this Leela further in this very section, some of these topics that you are talking about will be more detailed, explained.
Okay, Mukundaji.
So here the gopis, there were different groups of gopis, as I mentioned before. Each of the different comments may be from one of those different groups, depending on the content that's being spoken. Afterwards, when they came and they found Srimati Radhika, what happened was that when Radhika and Krishna were traveling through the forest, then this is explained by the acharyas, that Radhika told Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. If you want me to go further, you'll have to carry me. So then Krishna told Radhika, as it's mentioned here, you should climb onto my shoulder. When Radhika heard Krishna say this, she became overwhelmed by one sanchari bhav called dainya, means shyness or humility. So when her eyes closed at that time, she was afflicted by something called prem vaichitya. Prem vaichitya means even when you're in the company of the beloved, you become so overwhelmed by something that you think that you're absent from the lover. So when she closed her eyes, she became afflicted by prem vaichitya, and Krishna saw this and wanted to see the deep mood of Radhika's separation, which is very high class. So he hid to watch her prem vaichitya. So she will say, Hey Nataramana Presta Kwasi Kwasi Mahabuja. Dasyate Kripanaya Me Soki Dasyaye Saniding. The gopis hear this prayer, and their hearts, even the Vipaksh gopis, mean Chandravali's party, when they hear that, though they have a natural, what is called irsha, means a natural jealousy. It's not mundane, obviously. It nourishes rasa, right? But they become sympathetic or empathetic towards Radhika's position at that point.
Nice.
Then all of them will gather together. They'll search for Krishna until the point where they can't see the moonlight. They return to the bank of the Jamuna and they recite the Gopi Geet. So Srila Prabhupada said, this is the prayer that becomes Krishna's glories.
Okay, well, you told the whole thing. Nice, everyone. Let's pay our basis. Let's just take it a little step by step. But goodness, he's so excited. He wants to get to the prime. Bhushra, thank you, G.
Yeah, that was nice. But also, thank you, Mukunda. What Acharya said is that he mentioned that Krishna at the same time, the spite, or maybe you mentioned it much, that the spite, he wanted to see the other gopis in that distress. And the thing is that Krishna has that, where he actually said, I don't care. Let Radharani stay in her man. Let her stay in her anger. Because when I meditate, I can see her in all directions, everywhere. But when she comes before me, then I only see her standing in front of me. So the thing is that's a very sweet thing, where he allows that to go on, where there's suffering like that. At the same time, then he can see them everywhere.
And we see that this whole Leela and the whole way it's being organized is so that everyone will be on the same page. There won't be any feeling of animosity or envy or jealousy, or everything is completely harmonious, but all of these different ingredients had to be added to the pot before that could happen.
And it's also, the thing is, it's nice that the word envy was used, because then with our contaminated minds, we think, oh, envy, this is very intense. This is a very intense energy right now. But it was transcendental.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that material word of envy makes the reader think that, oh, this is very intense right now.
Well, it was very intense, but it was totally very intense. Okay, this is a signal that we should go on now. Thank you, everyone. Acharya, why don't you read?
Okay, thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-34, Sarartha Darshani. Shukadev Goswami continued, Lord Krishna enjoyed with that gopi, although he enjoys only within, being self-satisfied and complete in himself. Thus, by contrast, he showed the wretchedness of ordinary lusty men and hard-hearted women. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. After showing the extreme degree of Radha's good fortune through the statements of the gopis, Shukadev himself concludes with his own words. Even though Krishna is self-satisfied, he enjoyed with Radha because his own pleasure increases in her company. In other words, Krishna does not experience the same happiness in his own self-satisfaction as he does in association with Radhika. It may be questioned, if this is so, does this not indicate that Krishna is incomplete? Krishna is unbroken and never incomplete. Radha is Krishna's Hladini Shakti, pleasure potency, arising from his very own form. Though Radha is the form of Hladini Shakti, during pastimes her form transforms into the essence of joy called prema. And prema reaches its highest pinnacle as Mahabhava. Thus, Krishna enjoys more happiness with Radha, the topmost essence of all joy, than from the happiness arising from his own quality as Atmarama. Thus, the logical connection of the words is that even though Krishna is self-satisfied, he is eager to enjoy with Radha. Even though Krishna derives personal pleasure from Radha, he remains unbroken and perfectly complete. In this way, Krishna enjoys his transcendental pastimes.
Okay. So I have a question, Acharya. We always hear that Atmaram, that the consciousness of Atmaram is the topmost. So how does this make sense that he's even enjoying more with Radha?
Uh, well, the Atmaramas are, of course, the Jivas are told to be Atmarama, but even they, the Atma that they're talking about is Krishna, who's the Paramatma of all. As for Krishna, he can enjoy more with Radhika and not contradict his quality of being Atmarama, because Vishwanath Chakravarti explains
Yeah.
that she is Krishna, or Krishna's energy of Hladini Shakti. So there's no separation between her and his Atma. So he's Atmarama, and at the same time, there's two of them. Just like what's the famous, I'm having a senior moment. The second or third verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, that
Oh,
the two become one and the one become two is
oh,
Mahaprabhu. How's that verse start?
Radha Krishna Nahiyana.
Yeah, Radha, yeah, no. Uh, Radha
Although
Krishna
Sri
Pranaya
Krishna.
Vikritir. In that verse explains that they're one, but they become two for the sake of pastimes, and
Right.
and then Chaitanyakyam, then they again become one as Mahaprabhu. So for the sake of pastimes, they appear as two, but they're actually one.
Beautiful.
And
Wow.
therefore his Atmaram, he used the word unbrokenness, is preserved.
Yeah. Wonderful.
One thing
Anyone
I
else?
also
Oh,
really
oh,
liked in this, if I could say one other thing about this verse that Vishwanath Chakravarti didn't describe, but I like that at the very beginning of the Rasa dance, it's mentioned how Krishna is self-satisfied, but still he goes to
yeah,
enjoy with the gopis. And now that point is coming up again. And then again at the very end of the Rasa dance, or maybe even other instances, but at the end of the Rasa dance, Parikshit Maharaj asks the same question. How could
right.
Krishna be doing what appears immoral? So I like how that point is brought up several times throughout the whole pastime.
And actually, why would we be enthused to continue on this path if Krishna wouldn't be pleased with us also, aside from being self-satisfied? So everything that we're reading in these very esoteric subject matter, we can actually identify in our own Krishna consciousness.
And,
The
and
kind of
Shukadeva is making a point, actually, of making it personal to us by
good,
bringing up these points.
very nice. Thank
Acharya,
you.
why don't you read the verse? Because it helps us fully understand it.
Unmute, sweetie. Unmute. Chargy.
Sorry. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shaktir Asmat Ekatmanav Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gatau Tau Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself.
In that verse, it almost sounds like there was something that existed one way, then it existed another way, and now it exists still in another way. Can you talk about that timeline? Does that actually exist, or is this just
It's
words?
not a time. It's not a timeline in the sense that we think of it, because Radha and Krishna and Mahaprabhu are both all eternally existing. But there's I don't know, a philosophical progression in a sense, but it's not, I don't think it's like a historical timeline that
No.
in January there was only a Radha and Krishna, then in February it became Mahaprabhu.
It's
It's not like
eternal.
we think of a timeline, but there's a philosophical and a sort of ontological progression going on and going back and forth, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you.
Very
Also,
good.
also Mahaprabhu is the other answer to the question of how Krishna's Atmarama can be preserved because when he came as Mahaprabhu, they're one again.
Wonderful.
He's
Yes.
Krishna, but
Like that
the
verse,
mood
Om
and complexion of Radhika.
Purnamidam, although so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Means whatever, like if you take a piece of paper and rip it up into different pieces, the original piece no longer exists.
Is lost, yeah.
Prabhupada gives that example in his purport to the Sri Upanishad. But with Krishna, although so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So you can rip up the piece of paper, have so many different individual pieces, but also at the same time, the original piece continues to exist.
You know, there's one interesting
Nice.
fact about that even though Radha and Krishna are joined in the form of Lord Chaitanya, there is this great feeling of separation. That, you know, so there has to be in his mind,
Good.
he is feeling separation from Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So even though it looks that they are joined, everything is back together again. Of course, Jagannatha Pandit, in his book, Prema Bharata, he talks about it is a foolish thing to try to find out which came first, Radha and Krishna or Lord Chaitanya, this whole thing. So if he's, but in the form of Lord Chaitanya, you can't go up to him and say, "You're Krishna, you should." In fact, Ramachandra Puri almost said like that to Madhavendra Puri. Don't lament because it's all one, you know? Not all one. It's all one, but it's not all one.
Mukunda has his hand raised.
Mukundaji, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, this verse is to demonstrate the progression of praying. So it's not historical, it's ontological explanation, but it's to show the development of praying. That praying, when it reaches its highest point, then Krishna himself desires to taste the position from where the praying is coming. So remember in the very first class, we talked about Asray and Vishai, the object of love and the subject of love. When love reaches its pinnacle, which is called Madanakya Mahabhav, this is the mood of Radhika's love, Krishna himself desires to taste what is that mood. And so Ladini Shakti Asmad means the pleasure in that cause, Asmad means to cause, the effect that the Vishai, Krishna himself, desires to become Radhika. Understand? And this is the cause, it's saying, of the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Aye.
Okay. Jai Gauri, would you like to read? Are you with us? I see you here. Jai Gauri ji, are you there?
You have to unmute.
You have to unmute and also want to read if you want to. She's on, but I don't know. I don't see her. And maybe Pushkar's in the same situation. Pushkar Prabhu, would you like to read? I think they're doing stuff while they're hearing, which is wonderful. Pushkarji.
Okay, so I'm going next.
Okay, forget it. Tisha. Tisha's right there with her smiling face, and she would love to read.
I would
Go
love
on,
to read.
Lily.
Text 35 and 36 are at the Darshini. As the gopis wandered about, their minds completely bewildered, they pointed out various signs of Krishna's pastimes. The particular gopi whom Krishna had led into a secluded forest when he had abandoned all the other young girls began to think herself the best of women. Quote, "My beloved has rejected all the other gopis," unquote, she thought. Even though they are driven by Cupid himself, he has chosen to reciprocate with me alone. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. After describing the union aspect of Radha's conjugal rasa, now separation will be described. The words sa cha, she also, indicate that previously all the other gopis were intoxicated with pride over their good fortune on associating with Krishna, and now Radha has also become so. The reason for this is stated by the words beginning with hitva, rejecting. Radha felt like that because Krishna had given up all the other gopis who had come to fulfill their lusty desires, or who did activities to invoke their desire and began to serve only her. In other words, the anger Purva Mana that Radha previously felt towards the other gopis over the good fortune had now vanished.
Hmm.
Can you explain that a little bit? What's your understanding, Tisha?
My understanding is that old saying, we're all in the same boat. We're in the same boat. So
Good.
what you experience now, I'm experiencing as well, and this puts us on the same platform.
Good. And then there's harmony.
Yes,
Then
with each
good.
other. They can relate with each other.
And only in that condition can the rest of the pastime manifest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anyone else have something to say about this? Okay. Let's go on then. Shruti, would you like to read? Shruti Rupaji?
Okay.
Very well.
How do I get rid of that? Okay. We're on 37.
Yes.
As the two lovers passed through one part of the Vrindavan forest, the special gopi began feeling proud of herself. She told Lord Keshava, I cannot walk any further. Please carry me wherever you want to go. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. The divine couple went to a particularly attractive region of the forest. Then Radha, in a mood of pride, had Keshava undo the top knot that he had made earlier in jest and tie her hair in braids to hide her playful dealings from her friends. Such pride in an independent girl who has brought her boyfriend under her control is understood to enhance the conjugal mood. Should I continue or not?
No.
Any realization? You want to say anything about that, Shruti? Good one.
All just so esoteric between the pride and, how Krishna, deals with that, we all know. So, and the top knot in the hair, I mean, I have no commentary on all that. I'm just here
Well,
taking your association.
pride. Okay, that pride, you mentioned pride. How does that, bring it down to a lesson for us, which we're going to get into more and more as this progresses. But do you have anything to say right now about that?
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, we know that Krishna, leaves because of the pride. So, I mean, and I don't know, I've understood, I mean, Dina had said to me, years ago, and I don't know if anybody's understood it like this, but she has said to me before that, we get purified of all of our different, faults, anarthas, and so many bad habits that we have, but pride is something that's not purified. It has to be consciously rooted out. Is this true?
Consciously
That it's not
rooted out
something
sounds good.
purified, that it's consciously rooted out, something that we have to be aware of and excavate and do this ourselves.
Sounds like you have to be purified to do that. Anyway.
Well, part of the process when we get there to be a thinking, conscious being, but
Right.
pride is something, that it's a big anchor. And so is it? I mean, what's your understanding?
Well, I am a full blown out proud person. What can I say? But pride.
We got
It says also in the Manashiksha, the whole dissertation by Raghunath Das about pride, a desire for fame. This desire for fame, profit, adoration, distinction. It keeps us on the external platform. So it's totally in the bodily concept of life.
Well, the
Bhushra
pride
has his
makes
hand up
one
too.
feel
Oh, sorry.
superior. Pride makes one feel superior,
Yeah,
if
it does.
proud.
And Lord Chaitanya talks about it in the Shikshastika. I do not desire wealth. I do not desire sex. I do not desire any number of followers. That's in the Shikshastika 4. And the Shikshastika 3 tells us how to chant to become free from pride. Bhushra?
Well, I was just thinking that I remember Prabhupada had mentioned, I don't exactly remember where, but there was a mention by him that one should be proud of being a devotee. In other words, you're no longer a karmi anymore. You're trying to become a better devotee, but you should be proud of that. Not pride where you want distinction for your own ego, but just proud that you're, on the path. So
On the path is good, because I've also heard Prabhupada talk about how are we really devotees? We want to be devotees. There's a very high level to be a devotee. It means you're not in the bodily concept of life.
There's an element of our
Nanda.
conversation
Okay.
that is totally on this plane of existence, talking about something that's negative. But if we look at the verse itself and the purport, it says here, such pride in an independent girl who has brought her boyfriend under her control is understood to enhance the conjugal mood. So although in this world, pride is an unwanted feature, the nature of Srimati Radharani in her affection, called Madhu Sneha, is such that when there's intimacy, she becomes proud, she becomes dominant, and that's pleasing to Krishna. Whereas Chandravali has Grita Sneha, a different kind of affection. She becomes very submissive and submissive rather than a little bit contrary. So different types of gopis, as we'll read, and the whole thing expands, have different moods. They're unlimited. And in the spiritual realm, the spiritual dimension, such things don't have the inebriety of a bad element. It's not that Radharani has anything that needs to be rooted out or cleansed, although Krishna will use it to enhance and expand the Leela. So,
Thank you. Nandaji, did you want to say something? Unmute.
I was just thinking that Shruti was talking about material pride,
right.
that it has to be rooted out because it's such a destructive element to become spiritual instead of material.
Certainly.
Okay.
Well, that's what we're talking about being here. But I did want to add something to, because you were talking about the pride to be a devotee, and then you said something, Samapriya, about also it's very difficult to be a devotee. I can't remember exactly what you said, but in Mayapur, I think it was 75, Satsrupa Maharaj was talking to Prabhupada in his room, and in the early days, we always saw him as the most humble and austere and so advanced, and from my worldview. And so he was highly regarded, is my point, at that time. And that he said to Prabhupada, he made some comment, we as devotees, and Prabhupada cut him off, and Prabhupada said, we are not Vaishnavas. We're simply trying to become Vaishnav. He said, Vaishnav is very rare.
Yes, that's exactly.
So, and it was so striking, so startling, because I couldn't think of anybody who's more perfect as a Vaishnav. And for Prabhupada to say that in contrast, it was like an aha. And I remember those words verbatim that have always stayed with me.
Right.
And so, and when I think it was you, Leela, you were saying to be proud, I always feel like I'm not even a devotee, but I feel grateful. I feel grateful that Prabhupada has, picked me up and allowed me on this path. And I beg every day when I pay my obeisances, I pray to Prabhupada, please help me become a real devotee.
Good.
And I think
Perfect.
that stems from him saying, Vaishnava is very rare.
Very good.
So
it is true. If we think that we're devotees and we're proud to be devotees, watch everything crumble in front of you.
This next verse and purport are extremely pivotal, so let's move on to them.
Okay, Bahushra, would you like to read? Thank you, Shruti.
thank you.
Text 38, Sarartha Darshini. Thus addressed, Lord Krishna replied, quote, just climb on my shoulder, unquote. But as soon as he said this, he disappeared. His beloved consort then immediately felt great remorse. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Krishna began to consider as follows, quote, I see that Radha has given up her natural behavior of being bashful and uncooperative. A proper girlfriend does not readily consent when her lover tries to bring her to a flower bed. If she has abandoned her contrary vamya nature, then why should I not give up my nature as a cooperative lover who faithfully follows in obedience a girlfriend he has enjoyed? This becomes necessary now. If both lovers show the same nature of being cooperative or uncooperative, there can be no tasting of ras. Therefore, those who are experts in the art of love are not going to criticize me if I give up my nature now. Rasa becomes tasteful when it properly follows the emotions of the woman. Moreover, now is the opportunity to see Radha, who possesses the utmost love, in the special condition that is brought about by separation from me. This is something which I've desired to see for a long time.
Okay, before we go on,
No. Read it.
Read what?
Read the next paragraph.
Quote, these gopis have perceived the greatness of Radha's good fortune when she is embracing me. Now let the other gopis see the exceptional condition Radha attains in separation from me. By seeing the extraordinary state of Radha's mental anguish generated from her extreme prema separation, they will all drown in the ocean of amazement. Let the subterranean fire of Radha's separation from me later ignite the flame of separation in all of them. Then when Radha has experienced the fullness of both direct union and separation, this sweet mellow of conjugal love will have become complete. When by my expertise I've made Radha feel separation, then after my dispelling all her pain of separation, all the gopis will share the same mood, and I will be able to properly inaugurate the rasa dance tonight. Otherwise, if I were to appear in front of the other gopis after having enjoyed privately with only Radha, their minds would not be settled. Wow.
Okay, tell us about that.
Gosh. Oh, well, Mukund is going to have to comment on this because it's hard for me to analyze this. I mean, this describing how bringing him around the Sambhoga, and at the same time, then after that, creating the separation. I mean, it's just, and then how Krishna wants to bring this out. So, I mean, it's nice that he's showing how he'll create the situation of Sambhoga, then he creates the other situation of the separation, and then it can happen automatically like this. So it's very dramatic. I mean, it's just, the intensity is just beyond my comprehension.
Well, why is the separation the thing that unites everyone?
Because it creates that intense longing to be back with Krishna, to be back together. Otherwise, how can you have Sambhoga, enjoy Sambhoga if it's Sambhoga all the time?
Well, what about the union of the gopis and the cooperation between the gopis? How come it's clearly stated here that this feeling of separation is the thing that binds everyone? That that's the
it binds everyone after it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when the feeling of separation is there, it's too intense. There's too much anguish. There's too much. It's extremely intense. But then when the Sambhoga happens, the union, then the thing is, then it makes it complete. It's just like, it's just you don't know what you've lost until you've lost it. I mean, the thing is that separation. Yeah,
that's there. Pati, do you want to explain that also?
We're going to go into it a little bit later. And that explanation of what happens.
To the chariot.
Basically, what's clear is that there's a strategy being employed.
Yeah.
It's Krishna's thinking ahead, and he's pointing out that right now there's not complete harmony between all the gopis. We've read about how they were all dancing together on the banks of the Jamuna, and when they first arrived there. And then Krishna disappeared. And as the gopis are walking through the forest and find that other set of footprints, then it's revealed by the different comments by different groups of the gopis, how that harmony, that center, that complete flow without jealousy or complete unity wasn't manifest. So what Krishna is doing, he explained it. Let me bring up the verse. In the end of that purport, it was really nice, the one that Bahushra had just read. Here he says, by seeing the extraordinary state of Radha's mental anguish generated from her extreme prema in separation, they will all drown in an ocean of amazement. Let the subterranean fire of Radha's separation from me later ignite that flame of separation in all of them. Then, when Radha has experienced the fullness of both direct union, which has already happened, and separation, this sweet mellow of the conjugal love will have become complete. When by my expertise I have made Radha feel separation, then after my dispelling all her pain, all the gopis will share the same mood, and I will be able to properly inaugurate the rasa dance tonight. Rasa is also sometimes described as juice or liquid or nectar. So it flows in different ways, just like a river. Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti, prays, let my love for you flow like the Ganges forever toward the sea. And as the Ganges flows, there's so many obstacles. Sometimes there's bridges, sometimes there's dams, but it continues to flow. But what's happening is that in order to have a rasa dance flow in its most freely powerful manifestation, there has to be complete harmony between all participants. This is what Srila Prabhupada tried to do with ISKCON. And you see there is so much competition and so much false things that restrict that flow. So in this divine, topmost of all manifestations and leelas, Krishna is creating complete harmony amongst billions of gopis.
Wow. Okay, let's have a little conversation. Thank you, Pati. Jagarini, you want to say something, and then Acharya?
I was pretty much going to say just what your husband just said.
Okay.
Because you had asked what that all meant. The gopis were feeling somewhat envious, different degrees of a little bit of disturbance in a way about Krishna taking one gopi away, and so they weren't all in harmony about that. And then Krishna expertly. But what I'm amazed at is the way the acharyas, in this case Vishwanath Chakravarti, can parse out from the verse this beautiful picture so that we can really understand it. Because when you read the verse, there's not a whole lot of description there. The description is more in his commentary, and the acharyas are just seeing Krishna. They're so immersed in these pastimes that they can give them to us. They can give us these pictures in our minds, so we can understand these leelas. It's amazing, and I really appreciate, Prabhu, what you said about Prabhupada and ISKCON, because I've always felt that very same way, that Prabhupada really wanted the devotees to be a bundle of sticks, all united, an army of pure devotees to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And all the strife and all the different things that come up are impediments to that end. So hopefully in the future, I pray that we can all, manage to come together and do as Prabhupada, wanted from us.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Thank you. Acharya?
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I also really appreciated Dhruva Maharaj Prabhu's explanation there. And I was just so struck in hearing that and the purport, how Krishna is like managing and orchestrating every aspect, every detail of this pastime to maximize the rasa, to maximize his enjoyment and Radhika's enjoyment and all the gopis' enjoyment. He's just managing everything so detailed ways that no one else would even conceive of or even you think of except for the commentaries of the acharyas. And I was thinking of like in Nectar of Devotion, for example, in the back quarter of the book, there's all these very detailed descriptions. This rasa goes with this one, and this combination is compatible, and this combination is incompatible, and this is a valid stimulus in this situation, but not a good stimulus in that situation. And I don't understand those things, and I don't even know them, and I haven't studied them deeply, but all these details actually kind of matter. And in the hands of Krishna, he's managing it perfectly with every detail perfectly in place to maximize the whole pastime.
Perfect. That's perfect. Not a blade of grass. Everything perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he does it in the material world too, actually. But here we're
Everything.
really seeing it for the sake of rasa, doing it here is nice.
That's beautiful. All right, shall we go on?
Mukunda, I think, has a hand up.
Mukundaji. Okay.
Haribol. So I think Acharya hit on a very good point that a lot of these things, there's so much kind of prerequisite knowledge to really sort of deeply at least understand it, what to speak of, making it relatable to our own aspirations in bhakti. So the overarching thing that's going on here is to bring out the superiority of the love that Radhika has. So all of the other gopis, until and unless their hearts become one with Radhika, the Rasa Leela cannot sufficiently take place. So the orchestration, in one sense, is Krishna's desire. But remember, in the very beginning of Rasa Leela, Maya Yamupasritam, Krishna took shelter of Yoga Maya to orchestrate this. So the backdrop orchestration of everything is Yoga Maya making all the arrangements for the rasa to increase. So in the last purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it's to the point where now when the gopis come and they see a unique form of separation that's not in other gopis. In Ujjalini Mani explains, Mohan Bhav is primarily Praya Radhika Mohana Bhave. It's primarily only in Radhika. So they'll see an extraordinary form of separation that they don't have. They'll become empathetic to that mood that's only present in Radhika. When their hearts become tadatmic with hers, then in the recitation of Gopi Geet and the Ras Leela takes place, it will be truly Ras.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Ranga, would you like to read?
Okay, yes, thank you. 39.
39 and 40.
She cried out, "O Master, my lover, O dearmost, where are you? Where are you? Please, O mighty armed one, O friend, show yourself to me, your poor servant." Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Radha's lamentation is described in the verse. Sukadev Goswami said, while continuing to search out Krishna's path, the gopis discovered their unhappy friend close by. She was bewildered by separation from her lover. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. While searching and searching, the gopis then saw Radha from far off, because her effulgence is as brilliant as lightning. As the Shaktis of both parties saw Radha as a friend, by seeing the intense pain that their friend Radha was enduring due to separation, even rivals like Chandravali felt a rising affection for her. Also, the nature of the conjugal rasa is that enmity and hatred among competitors turns into affection when they all experience the disturbance of separation from Krishna. The scripture says, in this regard, separation reveals externally a spontaneous affection in their hearts.
Wait a minute. Are we finished with that, Patti, or is this continuing now?
This is Sanatana Goswami's commentary on the same verse.
Well, wait a second then. Go back down for a minute, because this is the essence of what we were talking about previously, about how this mood of separation manifests in Srimati Radharani, just completely melts the hearts of the other gopis, no matter what their position is. Patti, do you want to talk about Lord Chaitanya?
No. Let Rangavati say something right now.
Okay, Ranga.
And let's go. Let us read Sanatana Goswami's, and then we'll go on.
Okay, Ranga, why don't you read that? Let's see. We have enough. We have plenty. Rangavati, you want to continue?
I have like 3 microphones on my page, so it's hard to know which one. Okay, I'm reading. It was possible
Yes.
for her to be at a very great distance, but even then she could be seen, since the shore shone more powerfully than the full moon. Or they searched far in front, or they saw her not far away. Because of their own distraction, though close, they could not previously hear the painful cries. She suffered separation and then had fainted. She had fallen to the ground, but dust on her body, and wounds and blood on her limbs, and had profuse tears and saliva smeared on her facial makeup. In that condition, of all of them viewed her with affection. They had imitated Krishna's pastime out of great pain and separation. She had fainted with a death-like state. When the friends saw her in that condition, out of friendship, they felt similar pain. In fact, they felt double the pain. Surrounding her, they all wept. Previously, envy in all of them disappeared on its own. Later, they made her revive consciousness gradually by their various skills. Confronting her, they asked what had happened.
Comforting her.
Wow. So what do you think, Ranga?
Wow. I think it's wonderful. I think it's so glorious to even hear about such amazing affections for one another, because that kind of thing in the material world is either doesn't exist, or if it does, it's so extremely rare. And it's just the opposite. You see somebody in a disheveled state, hair messy or dirty, and you immediately go, oh boy, what about that person? They should get cleaned up. They should do this. They should do that. But there she's got, everything unkept, and they love her for that. They even feel more because she's in that condition. In other words, the more pathetic she looks or acts or seems, the more they love her, the more they want to comfort her.
There's no false ego. No false ego.
No false ego.
No false ego.
Not even a hint, not even a shadow of it.
So the nature of the soul is to love another soul. You can't say I just love Krishna and not love all of his parts and parcels. This is love.
Just think of that. How do we on our own look at other people? Do we love them in that way? I mean, we can maybe for a while, but if they really get unpleasant or difficult, or start acting very like in an angry mood or any kind of mood, that all of a sudden that love, the so-called love we have for them, can wither.
Right. Wow. Thank you. Jagarini.
I like what Ranga just said, and I see another aspect to it as well, that in the material world, all these things that are being explained in the pastimes are here in a perverted reflection. So between people, there's all types of relationships, And there are those who are just cold-hearted and are out for themselves and exploit each other, and they don't care for each other, and they want to take from each other. Even if it means even intimacy, they'll take it and then just leave it. But then there are those who more in the mode of goodness, who have some regard for each other and care for each other. And I was thinking how in this particular pastime, I was thinking about it like in the family of devotees. You might have some, disagreement with each other. But when we hear that that person is suffering or has gone through something, it melts your heart. It takes away the bad feelings that you might have had for that person. I mean, that's even in the material world that happens. So imagine, they use these words, the acharyas are using these words like envy and hatred and these words, but that's not the same as here. They're already pure from all that. So those words are being used. It's a transcendental type of that, that's very, very, mystical. And it's just used to increase Krishna's pastimes. But you see it here manifest, and you can see why these things can melt our hearts, right? When something tragic happens to somebody and you see this person that even if you didn't like them, and like, wow, you feel bad that you ever felt anything bad about them because they're suffering so much, right?
It's the modes in nature are hellish.
Yeah.
Down with the modes in nature, I say.
The modes in nature.
Okay,
Sure. Thank you.
let's go on here.
We have to go on, but who?
Yep.
We should next time. We have to go on.
Wanted to point out something here that's kind of like between the lines, let's say. Because of their own distraction, though close, they could not previously hear her painful cries. She suffered separation and then had fainted. She had fallen on the ground, dust on her body, wounds and blood on her limbs, and had profuse tears and saliva smearing her facial makeup. In that condition, all of them viewed her with affection.
That's what I just said.
So when I read that, it brought up a good place to insert this topic, which we described, which we introduced at the very beginning of our study. You may remember from the Nectar of Devotion, there were 5 different categories of rasa. This is the rasa dance, and there's different categories, and the way they as Mukunda was saying, under the direction of Yogamaya, they blend together to create a very tasty experience. The rasa dance is the most exalted of all the pastimes of Krishna. It's considered the prize jewel in the treasure house of his pastimes. So those 5 were the vibhava. We discussed that. The anubhavas, we discussed those, the physical manifestations of the heart. Then last week, I think last Saturday, Bahushra had talked about vyabhachari bhava, the fleeting temporary moods that manifest in rasa. And this week, today, I want to go over the sattvika bhava. There are 8 different, let's read it from the Nectar of Devotion. This is actually from the first lesson. I've just inserted it in here so we could read it. Sattvika bhava, Srila Prabhupada translates as existential, ecstatic love for Krishna. There are 8 symptoms of existential, ecstatic love: becoming stunned, perspiring, standing of the hairs on the body, faltering of the voice, trembling of the body, changing bodily colors, shedding tears, and devastation. The scientific explanation of these 8 symptoms is given by Srila Rupa Goswami as follows. When the vital force of life is in contact with the earth, it is called stunning. When the same force comes in contact with water, there is shedding of tears. When the same force comes into contact with fire, there is perspiration. When the force comes into contact with the sky, there is complete devastation. And when that force comes in contact with the air, there is trembling, failing of the voice, and standing of the hairs on the body. These symptoms are sometimes manifested internally and sometimes externally. The pure devotees always feel such symptomatic expressions within himself, but being afraid of outsiders, he does not generally manifest them externally. Romanchakampa Shrutaranga Bhajo Vande Garoshi Charanaravindam. Then there's a list of the 8, which we just read. For further analysis, someone can take them. But listen to this from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Krishna, as we always hear. He wants to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani. So let's see how that manifests. When I read that quote by Sanatana Goswami, that description, it actually triggered something in me. Hearing about Lord Chaitanya and his bodily symptoms of saliva coming from his mouth, his bodily limbs extending, his body erupting in horripilation, his fainting on the ground and becoming stunned, we get one image of a male doing that. And to hear of Srimati Radharani exhibiting or experiencing such painful ecstatic symptoms would not be joyful. It invokes a different mood. So, but Lord Chaitanya is Krishna wanting to experience those things. So this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 13, text 99 through 109. The car came to... Oh, Pahush, there's a question. You want to talk about something before I read it?
Okay, you're going to
Let's just go through it. Yeah.
Okay.
The car came to a complete standstill and remained immobile, while Lord Jagannath, with unblinking eyes, watched the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The goddess of fortune, Subhadra, and Lord Balaram both felt great happiness and ecstasy within their hearts. Indeed, they were smiling. They were seen smiling at the dancing. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high, 8 wonderful transformations indicative of divine ecstasy were seen in his body. They're called Astasatvika. All these symptoms were visible simultaneously. His skin erupted with goose pimples, and the hairs of his body stood on end. His body resembled the simuli, a silk cotton tree, and all covered with thorns. Indeed, the people became afraid just to see his teeth chatter, and they even thought that his teeth would fall out. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whole body flowed with perspiration, and at the same time oozed blood. He made the sounds Jaja Gaga, in a voice choked with ecstasy. Tears came forcibly from the eyes of the Lord, as if from a syringe, and all the people surrounding him became wet. Everyone saw the complexion of his body change from white to pink, so that his luster resembled that of a malika flower. Sometimes he appeared stunned, and sometimes he rolled on the ground. Indeed, sometimes his legs and hands became as hard as dry wood, and he did not move. When the Lord fell to the ground, sometimes his breathing almost stopped. When the devotees saw this, their lives also became very feeble. Water flowed from his eyes and sometimes from his nostrils, and foam fell from his mouth. These flowings appeared to be like torrents of nectar descending from the moon. So I wanted to read that to kind of give a little more gloss on what the gopis might have found when they found Srimati Radharani in the forest all alone, and why their hearts melted.
Rahushra?
That they mentioned earlier of the blood, that strikes in me something deep, because the thing is that usually blood is only seen in the most horrific situations, the most intense situations of suffering, or here it's separation. And then Lord Chaitanya came, he wanted to experience that. How is it that she can get blood all over her body? And what's that mood that intense mood, because it says in this Isha Upanishad, without veins, pure and uncontaminate. So then the devotee wonders just naturally, is that how is blood manifesting if there's no veins? So Lord Krishna showed this in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He would get arrows in his body that show blood. Lord Chaitanya in the Gambhira, he's scratching the walls with his fingernails in such deep ecstasy that the blood would appear. And at the same time, you see here where Srimati Radharani, and then here it's mentioned there that the blood would appear. So that oozing of blood. So that's a very intense situation. And it's due to great love. Usually here in the material world, it's due to great suffering, but there it's due to great love.
Good point.
Suffering due to great love. That's what it is. Jagrini, did you want to say something? No? Okay. Yeah, this is very profound subject matter.
So I
Shall we
just
go
wanted
on?
to cover that Sattvika Bhava. It's the fourth of the categories. The final will be the Sthayi Bhava, and we'll cover that later.
Kunda? Can we unmute?
Yeah, the Astasattvic Vikar, they also come in different levels of intensity. So it's called Dyumai, Jwali, Dipta, Udipta, and in the case of Radhika and what we're seeing in Mahaprabhu, they're called Sudipta Mahabhav symptoms.
English translations, I think
Yeah, yeah.
smoking.
Lit, blaze, lit, burning, blazing, and fully blazing.
Aye, Haribo.
Mahabhav, fully blazing. Hare Krishna.
They
All
may
right.
appear also in the presence of a sadhaka, like we know the story of Srila Prabhupada in Atlanta when he was giving Srimad Bhagavatam class, and he began to chant Jai Radha Madhava, and the Udipan, the stimulus from chanting Jai Radha Madhava, Srila Prabhupada had some internal movement of his inner self, and he just paused everything. So devotees explained that they waited 30, 45 seconds, I think up to a minute or something, considering, is this a medical condition, what's happening? And then Srila Prabhupada came back into external consciousness and just said, chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Mukunda, just to enhance that a little bit, I heard Shruti Kirti, who was his servant. You were saying that he became ecstatic from chanting Jaya Radha Madhava. The way that Shruti Kirti explained it was that Srila Prabhupada had previously been to several different temples, like Hawaii, Mexico City, places where Gorni Tai were. And Lord Chaitanya.
Venezuela.
Pardon? Venezuela?
Venezuela.
Uh-huh. And when he came to Atlanta and saw the deities of Gorni Tai there, having that, connecting the dots of seeing the mercy of Lord Chaitanya on this Malecha cultures all around the world, he became overwhelmed. That's one point of view that
Jai
that
Srila
manifested.
Prabhupada. Krishna.
The Ishan, in his memories of Srila Prabhupada, he mentions there in Delhi when he was with Srila Prabhupada when they were installing the Radha Krishna Murtis, is that Prabhupada at one point, because Ishan was off on his side, like on the right-hand side, and the thing is, Prabhupada shot out tears the length of his arm.
Whoa.
He said, and then Ishan looks back at Prabhupada, and then he's like gawking at him. You're like, what? And then Prabhupada looked at him like, get back to work. And he goes back to cleaning what he was working on.
Yeah, just quickly, this happened with Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj. When he came to America and he visited at 26 Second Avenue, he started speaking about Srila Prabhupada and the work he had done. And Bhumipati Prabhu, he's here now, but he was there personally. And Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, as he started talking about Srila Prabhupada and his works, same thing. He started actually crying, and it was actually shooting tears from his eyes.
And also in Atlanta, just like you were mentioning about Atlanta, when Prabhupada was there when he first came, is that Dhira Krishna and Satyaraj were sitting very close to Prabhupada, and then they both got sprinkled with tears.
Whoa.
Prabhupada. Yeah. So that's recorded. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Okay, you want to continue reading? Oh my goodness. Jagarini, would you like to read?
Thank you, Sam. Text 41. She told them how Madhava had given her much respect, but how she then suffered dishonor because of her misbehavior. The gopis were extremely amazed to hear this. Commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When Radha regained consciousness due to the loud wailing of the gopis and their services of fanning, the gopis asked her, "Please tell us what happened to you." Radha replied, "How have I allowed myself to become separated from you? I am so foolish and independent. I simply do not know what is best for me. Rather, I must conclude that it is because of my hard-hearted nature that I have received both honor and dishonor, neglecting all of you who have thousands of times more love for him than me, and causing you to burn in the fire of separation from him Krishna enjoyed with me alone. But this was simply his wickedness, and it was simply wickedness for me, being a stupid fool, to tell that mischievous son of the king, 'I cannot walk any further, just carry me wherever you want.' That was my hard-heartedness, for by saying this, I have obtained such dishonor. In this way, my mind fell into the greatest sorrow for two reasons, his wickedness and mine."
Go on.
Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Radha thus exhibited enmity toward her lover, humility before the gopis, and wretchedness toward herself. When Sukadev Goswami uses the word dautratmya, wickedness, he is simply repeating the words of Radha like a parrot. The word duratma actually means one whose body, atma, is far away, dur, from Krishna, or she from whom Krishna is far. One who possesses this feeling is called duratmya. Therefore, this word indicates Radha's ecstatic sentiments, bhav, which are based on her separation from Krishna.
Oh my goodness. So what can you say about this, Jagarini?
It's interesting that there's transcendental introspection on Radha's part here, that she's blaming herself and feeling guilty about how she left with him and left all the gopis behind, and she's feeling, ashamed of herself for getting proud and causing the whole thing, and then angry with Krishna, and it's a transcendental reflection on Radha's part.
This last sentence, the last paragraph, Radha thus exhibited enmity toward her lover, humility before the gopis, and wretchedness toward herself. That is that's quite a profound statement of bhav, I would say. Hare Krishna. Bhushra has another thing to say. What, my friend?
The wonderful statement of Srimati Radharani, where she's showing the utmost humility by saying, "You who have thousands of times more love for him than me."
Very, very wonderful. See, that's the mood of a devotee. If we can just get to that point of being a little bit humble, instead of thinking that this whole thing is meant for me anyway, so I may as well just relieve the world of its burden by putting myself in the front. It's too much. It's embarrassing. Actually, Bhaktivinoda said it makes an ass of the soul. All right. Let's go on now with Chaitamayi reading, and then Thakur Murari. Chaitamayi, would you like to read? Thank you, Jagarini ji.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranams, everyone. I was just thinking that the phrase Doryatmya, or intense separation, that he's so far away. This is a concept that here in the material world, we're all oblivious to it. It's so remote. It's so remote, and this is why we suffer so much, because we don't we've forgotten our connection.
Yeah.
So, all right. Text 42, Sarartha Darshini. In search of Krishna, the gopis then entered the depths of the forest. as far as the light of the moon shone. But when they found themselves engulfed in darkness, they decided to turn back. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Then the gopis, along with Radha, who in her anxiety was clutching the hand of a friend for support, began to search for Krishna. Even though it was a full moon night, the forest was completely dark because of the dense covering of trees. This is explained in the Vishnu Purana. One gopi said, Krishna has entered such a dark part of the forest that we cannot possibly see his footprints. Therefore, let us turn back from this area, which even the light of the moon cannot reach. That the gopis return because of the darkness is the external meaning. Actually, they return for the following reason. Oh, friends, drowning in the ocean of distress, you are shrinking back out of fear that you will not be able to see the cloud-like black body of Krishna in this dense darkness. But don't be embarrassed. After all, wherever you go to look for Krishna, he will simply slink away and go elsewhere. Let us not waste our time any longer, because all our endeavors will just tire his tender body. Thinking thus, they desisted.
Oh my goodness. All their endeavors will tire his tender body. They're still thinking of his benefit. Well, how is that?
One pointed focus on his welfare. They're not even concerned about. They understand that they're in misery and distress, separated from him. But bottom line is, what would make Krishna happiest in this situation?
And another wonderful, I mean, we've discussed it, but just to bring it up again, how wonderful this harmony between them is. They're joined together. There's no more animosity between anyone. How wonderful world that would be, that everyone just loves each other.
Wow. I think this is what
reason.
God had in mind when he inaugurated the International
Definitely.
Society. He said, look, this is your shelter. You guys have the opportunity to work together and get over all this, all these lower modes and the lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, delusion. You can get over that if you just work together. And how do you work together? You fall in love with Krishna.
Perfect. Jai Bahusha.
I like that one line where it says he slinks away.
Yeah.
Because Prabhupada said, Krishna, that rascal. So you just imagine Krishna slinking away in the dark like kids do, you know, like playing hide and go seek, and they slip away. So Krishna would be
away. But the gopis are saying, oh, he's slinking away again, and he's going to get tired slinking away. Poor guy, you know, or the love of my life is getting tired. So let's just go back so he doesn't have to keep hiding from us. All right. Okay. Let me just see. Thakur Murari, are you there? I see your name, Prabhu. Are you there, Thakur?
Krishna dear devotees.
Oh, you are there here. Please read. Please read, Prabhu.
Is text 43? Okay.
Yes.
Their minds absorbed in thoughts of him, they converse about him, acted out his pastimes, and felt themselves filled with his presence. They completely forgot about their homes as they loudly sang the glories of Krishna's transcendental qualities. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. But the gopis fill their minds with thoughts of Krishna, as they previously did. Their mothers, Udmada, became subdued, and they engaged in conversing about him. They said, "O Ashvata tree, have you seen Krishna?" When the gopis' madness manifested to a moderate degree, medium state of Udmada, They imitated Krishna's pastime, Tad Vishistas, as in the verse. One gopi imitated Krishna drinking milk. End of quote. When their madness reached its peak, the full state of Unmada, the gopis forgot themselves and identified totally Tad Admikaha with Krishna. As in the verse, one gopi said, I am Krishna. See the way I walk. End of quote. In this way, the gopis forgot their identities and merged with Krishna's identity. Under the influence of their past habit, the gopis loudly sang about Krishna's wonderful qualities, as is described in the 4th verse of this chapter. Jayantia Uchaye Amun Iva Samhata. Singing loudly of Krishna, they search for him through the Vrindavan forest, like a band of mad women. End of quote.
Hare Krishna. Can you say something of that, Murari Thakur?
I think this sangha is, we could say, the most intense in a sense. There are some different moods, appearing simultaneously, in the sense that we're seeing that Krishna disappears, and they go in with Radhika. Then the gopis find her. They all come together. Then you see, can I get back that? Let me think. What is coming up here? Yeah. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Okay. So we are seeing that they remind us of some discussion previously, like when the gopis were imitating Krishna. Yeah. So let's say under the influence of the past habits, gopis loudly sang Krishna's wonderful qualities, as is described in the 4th verse of this chapter. Singing loudly of Krishna, they search for him through the Vrindavan first, like a band of madmen. So we see the pastime keep weaving in, weaving out, different aspects. I would say this is intense, I would say.
You think? It's also the individuality of each gopi. That's another very important point that we see all through this. Everyone's an individual, so different. My husband gave a great example about individuality this morning. I don't know if you want to tell that.
Sure, I can share that one. It was nice. I was trying to understand and meditate on rasa. And when we lived in Mayapur, there's a drink that you can get in the morning called rasa. And what they do is the date trees on the bank of the Ganges are there. And they, with their roots, extract the ingredients for creating that rasa from the earth. And that goes up the tree body, up the trunk, and up into the dates to create the sweet fruits. But the farmers tap it, just like the farmers in Vermont and Canada do maple syrup. They tap the tree with a pipe, and the rasa, the juice that comes out, and they tie a clay pot to the tree, and that drips. So I was thinking about how there's so many features to that. It's a slow process. It's a gradual process, experiencing rasa, but also each individual on Earth, each individual plant, some living entities in their bodies will extract the necessary ingredients and create a rose flower. Another entity will create a lotus flower. Another create a thorny tree. Each individual has their specific facilities. So complete harmony comes when we can realize that each has their own nature and it's perfect. And they can all taste rasa. So that was one of my
beautiful.
meditations.
Each one of us, we have to perfect our existence so that we can taste rasa in our unique relationship with Krishna.
Just like we're saying here, freed from all envy and by the way, Thakur Murari, it sounds like you're still online and everything. He's in Jamaica. You just had a huge hurricane, didn't you?
Thakur, unmute.
Still there? Or did
Yes.
he go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes, let me just a minute. Why this thing come on here?
We hear you.
We hear you.
Okay, so fortunately for us, we aren't where we are wasn't badly damaged as the neighboring parish.
I
So we
see.
are okay. Yes, so we got back water and electricity. Fortunately for me, I had a solar installation, so I had
Oh.
some power. Yes, it was very nice.
Good for you.
Yes.
Jai, glad to hear
You
you
must,
well.
you must
Yes.
know how to live there after all this time.
Yes, yes.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
so we are trying to console others. We're trying to give physical and moral support to others because it will take a while from person
Sure.
to person to get back together. But
Yes.
we are okay.
Jai, glad to hear
Krishna
it, Prabhu.
protects his
Krishna protect
devotees.
it, yeah.
We have one more. We have one more verse. Faye, would you like to read? Faye,
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, thank you. Text 44. The gopis again came to the bank of the Kalindi, meditating on Krishna and eagerly hoping he would come. They sat down together to sing of him. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, excuse me, the gopis spoke among themselves. Alas, alas, wherever we go to find Krishna, he runs away from there. Why should we trouble ourselves so needlessly by wandering about the forest? Without Krishna's wish, we can never attain him. As it is stated in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.23, Krishna reveals himself only to that person whom he chooses. In other words, only by Krishna's mercy can we see him. By chanting his name, excuse me, we will surely attain Krishna's mercy. Thinking thus, the gopis returned to the bank of the Yamuna where they had previously associated with Krishna and engaged in singing and meditating upon Krishna. By their behavior, the Vraj gopis established the philosophical conclusion that Krishna reveals himself according to his free will.
oh my goodness. How does that make you feel?
Very happy.
Oh,
Oh, very happy. It's, if you could put the text back up, please. Thank you kindly. It's amazing to me. I like the quote in the first paragraph of the commentary. Krishna reveals himself only to that person whom he chooses. In other words, only by Krishna's mercy can we see him. By chanting his name, we will surely attain Krishna's mercy.
Nice catch. Nice connection.
hopeful. It's hopeful.
Yes.
Very hopeful. Thank you, Faye. Does anyone else have something to say? This was also in Bahushara.
But was mentioning that even if you're following the 64 different arts mentioned in Brahma Samhita, that if Krishna thinks you're a nonsense, you're still a nonsense.
Krishna. That sometimes when I read that Krishna only reveals himself to someone who he chooses to, I say, okay, he hasn't chosen to reveal himself yet. But then when we think, oh, he's in his name, he's in the deity form, we're discussing always, the thing is to become very focused on Krishna at every moment. And that's him revealing himself. Acharya?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can you put up that last text again, please? I think that last sentence was quite amazing, actually. Oh no, not yeah. only by Krishna's mercy can we see him. By chanting his name, we will surely attain Krishna's mercy. So I really love this because, it's by Krishna's mercy, it's his decision, but we can
Yeah.
influence Krishna to
Nice.
show his mercy. So it's
Right.
not like it's Krishna's mercy, it's out of my hands.
Right.
We also
Yeah.
have options.
You do. That's
The
relationship.
formula is there.
Right. Formulas there.
Oh,
Oh, another one. Bhushwaji.
also the thing is that some devotees, I've heard this, have experienced, they see Krishna in their dream, but they see Krishna in the deity form.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
And the
good.
deity form
in the dream.
reciprocates.
Oh, in the
In their
dream.
dream, yeah.
That's
Good.
cool.
Authorized
Like,
totally.
like the deity came to Madhavendra Puri and told him, I'm in the bushes. Please come get me out of here.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think the deity is, after all?
Just to point out to everyone that this ends the chapter 30th of Krishna, hiding from the gopis or the search for Krishna. What I've done, however, is rather than going straight into the Gopi Gita, let's just remember that the gopis are now headed to the banks of the Jamuna again, where they'll sit and sing in separation from Krishna. But remembering and wanting to always bring back the foundation of our teachings of Lord Chaitanya to understand this pastime, I remembered that in Ramananda Samvada, the teachings that are discussions between Ramananda and Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Roy brought out this point. It's a verse from the Gita Govinda, pointing out that because Krishna left all the other gopis in favor of Srimati Radharani, we can understand how wonderful and how important she is. I went into that section of Chaitanya Charitamrita and have posted that for the next 3 lessons, the glories of Srimati Radharani from the mouth of Ramananda Rai. And then we'll come back to the Gopi Gita while they're sitting on the banks of the Jamuna.
I think Mukunda's going to like this one, because he's always letting us know that it's for Sri Radha. This personality, Srimati Radharani, I've been trying to figure her out for a long time. It's even more profound than Krishna, her position, her nature, who she is. We get that one figured out, we're doing pretty good.
Dr. Murari's hand is again raised.
Yeah. Thakur?
Yes,
Oh.
So, I think we read in previous lessons where Krishna doesn't reveal himself easily, but I'm recalling the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj and Narada Muni, in the sense that Krishna actually appeared to them. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Those 2 pastimes.
Wonderful.
Thank
That's
you.
very significant too. Thank you. Mukunda.
Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj Prabhu. So, is it going to be this verse, Kam Sri Api Sangsara? That's in Ramananda?
That's where we're going to start from, yes.
That's from Gita Govinda.
Yeah.
So one speciality of this verse is that it's not really related to this Ras Leela, it's related to the Vasanti Ras Leela. What makes it super important is that at the Vasanti Ras Leela, only the Nitya Siddha Gopis are there, no Southern Siddha Gopis. I'll wait till we get to the verse, because
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there Tuesday.
yeah, the
We'll
last
discuss
part
it.
is really significant.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, everyone,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe. Titanam Pavane
Vaishnava
Vaishnavibhyam.
Thank you.
Thank you.